with that tough question on the screen is right here. We're really lucky to have Sam Childers with us tonight. I'm Lee Castanelli from the African Studies Center at Penn. My job is usually to say, what do movies give us accurate information about Africa? But I was fortunate enough to screen this movie a couple weeks ago, and I saw part of it tonight. We're here to really take your questions, and Sam said he'll answer anything goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And anyone want to start? I can start if you don't. Let's have a question. No? Anything
One all the way at the back.
Yeah.
How old is Paige now?
She's 23 and she runs my nonprofit now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I really completely what you're doing in Africa and everything there. I'm a child abuse prevention and awareness spokesperson from Philadelphia.
Right.
And I've been fighting for 44 years, 30 of my adult life, to try to do something for abuse and affected kids right here in our city, right here in our state of Pennsylvania,
Right.
and right here in our country.
Right. Yes, you guys here in the back there?
And I speak fine.
You can hear? You're going to have to talk up.
How you doing?
Make it short if you can, so we can make a lot of questions this thing.
What I'm bringing up is I'm from Philly, and I've been fighting a fight that's similar to the one in Africa in the essence of in our cities and in our streets in our country where we are. Every day we have kids that are abused, neglected, and pushed aside. And to have that tenacity, I have that tenacity here, but I need you need people there, and I would if I'd fly out tonight if I could to be right there. But we need people here too to do the same thing for our kids. And
we also do a lot here in Pennsylvania. I got a campground out here in Pennsylvania, so we work with troubled youth constantly. Awesome. I speak in high schools on drugs and alcohol. We also are doing a lot on sex trafficking here in the U.S. So we have a lot going on here in the U.S. as well as Africa. Plus we work in Uganda. We have 3 bases. We have a base in Ethiopia. We're getting ready to go into Somalia. Our work is not just Sudan. It's saving children around the world. And hopefully when Yuns leave here today, it's not going to be about what Sam Childers did. It's going to be about what are you going to do now. And it's not going to be about children just in Africa. It's going to be children around the world. I mean, everyone's saying, what do you want from the movie? I want people to know that the terrorist is still a madman going on in Sudan. There's a genocide in Darfur, a genocide in South Sudan caused by the president of Northern Sudan, Bashir. He is the man that has war crime charges put against him. He's the only president ever to have war crime charges in history put against him and still be in office. So this is giving me a platform to speak out on what the true problem is in Sudan. Joseph Kony is just one of the rebel leaders causing terror, but he's financed by the president of Northern Sudan, Bashir. Go ahead.
I guess I don't understand exactly what the Sudanese, what is his name, Kony?
Kony is from Uganda, northern Uganda.
What they're looking to gain, actually,
you know,
why this harm?
He has been rated one of the worst terrorists in the world because he don't have an agenda.
Oh.
He's just out there killing everyone that he can kill, but he's financed by the president of Northern Sudan.
And what's his agenda? His
agenda is he wants to run the entire country under Arabic law, which I want to get one thing straight here. I am a freedom fighter. I fight for the freedom of every man and every woman to choose who they want to serve. Sometimes people think I'm a radical Christian. I am not a radical Christian. I fight that if somebody wants to serve Allah, you can serve Allah. If you want to serve Buddha, you can serve Buddha. If you want to end up not believing at all, that's what I fight for, freedom. Me and my family choose to serve Jesus Christ. I am a freedom fighter. Way in the back. Wait, right there, you got it.
In the beginning, you kind of seemed a little like, I don't want to call you racist, but it seemed like you used the N-word.
No, that's a lie. That was Hollywood.
Okay.
My dad's mom died when he was 5 years old, and he was raised by a black lady. And if I ever said that word, I wouldn't have any teeth. I'd have dentures right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
That's all.
Elaborate a little more.
Right.
The defining moment that you had where it wasn't even about color at all. It was just about.
It never was about color with me ever because of how I was raised.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when you sell your life story to Hollywood, I'm very blessed to get a movie like this. I mean, if I didn't support the movie, I wouldn't be here. But there was a lot of little things in the movie that I didn't agree with, but, you know, that's what happens when you sell your life rights to Hollywood. Yes, sir.
Can you point out, like, some points in the movie that were just totally made up and not true?
Yeah, I will. The movie was totally based on a book that I wrote, Another Man's War. So if you go to a bookstore, you can buy the book, and you'll see everything that is true in the movie. Everything was based on the truth. The one thing that wasn't true is it showed me having a bad day, everything falling apart. I went back to the bar room and started drinking. Not true. I haven't drank or done drugs in 20-some years. It don't bother me at all. I mean, I'm a chaplain for a lot of motorcycle groups. I'm talking the 1%ers. I can get around them doing snorting coke or whatever. It don't bother me at all. So the drug thing is not true. The thing with my best friend, Donnie, never would happen. Never would happen. My best friends are always my best friends. I mean, we might get upset with each other, but that is showed in the living room didn't happen. The action scenes are what they call maybe beefed up some. But if you ask the children that were rescued, they wasn't beefed up, you know. But everything in the movie was based on the truth. The whole first part of the movie, who I was 30 years ago, don't even put a dent into truly who I was. I wasn't a good person. Somebody over right there.
Did your best friend Donnie really overdose?
Donnie was actually made up of 6 different characters because they couldn't put all of the guys I run with all the time, they couldn't put them all on there. So they made Donnie one character, and one of my friends, yes, he did overdose. Right here in front.
When children, how close did you get, or did you get to cloning?
Not close enough. I don't really know, sir. I don't really know that. One of the children that we rescued one time said that he was with Coney and some of the men when I was driving down the road, and Coney told all the children and everyone to ambush our car, but they couldn't lift their guns. So, you know, that's what one of the child soldiers told that. So evidently I was pretty close to the guy.
But you never actually saw him?
No, I would love to meet him, though.
I know you
Sure you would.
Yeah.
Somebody, right there.
How often do you go to Africa now?
I spend about 7 months a year in Africa. I leave on the first week of October, and I'll be back there for the whole month of October, and then I'll be back here. Right now, unfortunately, my movie contract says I need to support the movie. Otherwise, I'd be in Africa. Right here. Yeah.
How is your relationship with that young man?
Me and he lives in one of my homes in the capital of Uganda, and me and him are like this. Excuse me, but I love all my children. But you know, any mother or dad would tell you there's always one that you get really close to, but I have several that I'm really close to. But that boy's name is actually James. Yeah. Way in the back.
In the movie, they showed your conversion as, like, you going to church once and then being baptized.
Well, I tell you what they did is, okay, you got to remember what is messed up in the movie is you got 30-plus years bunched together. Okay, so the timeline is really messed up. But no, it didn't. Well, I shouldn't say that. It did happen pretty much that quick. I mean, I was raised in a Christian family. I started doing drugs at 11 years old. Started doing hard drugs at 13. I was putting a needle in my arm at 15. So I was out there for a long time, but I knew who God was. I knew God, I believed in God, I just didn't serve Him. So at the time that I walked into a church and I made that commitment, I went full blast for it. I knew what I was in for. And I am a preacher. I was preaching in my own church in Pennsylvania today. If I'm not preaching in my church somewhere, I'm somewhere around the U.S. or around the world preaching. Way in the back, right there.
I would like to know, like, what was the role of your wife and your kid during your whole transformation? How supportive were they, or how much did they influence you for the whole process?
I would have to say my wife was the big rock to me. I mean, my wife was a stripper. She's still stripping, but just for me now. But she was definitely the rock that kind of held me together. I mean, there was quite a few times I was ready to quit, and she would always say, no, Sam Childers don't quit, you know. Go ahead, right there.
I was fascinated with the end of the film, where things sort of settle down and you're there telling the story about our sons, our families, and then you make a comment, and I wondered if you might elaborate on it.
Well, you know, whether it's right or wrong what I do, there's a lot of people that think that what I've done in the past was totally wrong. And, you know, I just asked a journalist this here in Chicago the other day, because he was totally against picking up a gun. You know, I told him, well, hey, where I'm from, everybody got a gun in Pennsylvania. You know, but I asked him, I said, if somebody took your children, and he said, wait a minute, I don't have no children. I said, all right, well, if somebody took your mother, and if I could get your mother back, would you want me to go get her? And he said, I'd have to think about it. And I said, you don't love your mother.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know, because let's be for real, you know, none of us want our loved ones or the ones that we love to be raped, mutilated, lips cut off. I've seen women 67, 68 years old, lips cut off, nose cut off, ears cut off. You don't want to see that happen. And if you're in the position to stop it, see, I'm no hero. I didn't do anything that anyone else in this room wouldn't do if you had the opportunity. And I guarantee you, if that was going on outside of this building and you had a choice to pick up a gun and stop it, you would do the same thing I've done. Right there, go ahead. What's that? No, we still haven't found him yet, but we're always looking. We have rescued over 1,000 children. I have 179 children that I take care of myself. Some's in Uganda, some's in Sudan. We're always looking for their parents. We're always looking for brothers or sisters. The ones that we have now, the 179, we're pretty much 100% sure that the parents are all dead. Yeah.
What I failed to add put in when I first spoke about what I'm doing here, mine comes, like yours did, from a personal experience. I can't bring my brother back, who was murdered in my arms when he was 2 years old.
Right.
That's why I try to help these kids out here
Good.
from being there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Let's do this guy right here.
I'm just a little curious, your relationship to the freedom fighters in Uganda, were,
No, not Uganda. The freedom fighters are in Sudan.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. I mean, in the movie, Gerard Butler's the hero, and they're taking orders basically from him right off the bat. Like, how long did it take for you to establish a relationship?
Long time. And how the relationship got started with me with the freedom fighters in Sudan was when I went there, God told me to start supporting them because the NGOs and other people wasn't supporting them. So I started taking boots in and uniforms in. I was hauling food into the front lines, Mal 40, Javelin, and I would haul it in with just me and one soldier. And one day a colonel that was on the front line said, Reverend, you can't do this. He said, I'm going to give you some men. So he gave me some men. But it took a few years. There again, you got to remember the timeline was crunched together. Yeah.
But were you ever in a situation where you were, like, giving orders, basically, to them?
Absolutely. But I tell you what, I was always been smart enough to listen to them, too, when they tell me something. That's why I'm alive today. You know, it's not because of me. It's because of the king up there. But it's also because I'm willing to listen. You know, I don't care who we are. We can always take advice. All right, we'll do one last one. If maybe we got right in the back there.
I want to know what happened in your life so early to make you turn to a drug.
You know, everybody asks that, and most of the time, people that turn to drugs or get a bad addiction or do bad things, they blame it on their family. I can't. I was raised in the perfect family, middle-class family. Dad was a hard worker, born again. My mom was born again. I mean, I got my first motorcycle at 7 years old. I mean, so I was raised in a good family. At 11 years old, I always looked a little older than I was. At 11 years old, I chose to go into the world and start smoking pot. You know, bad choice. You know, some people ask me, well, pot's not that bad. Listen, pot's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug to all other drugs. And, I mean, a lot of people can fight against that, but I know it was a gateway drug for me, and I know drugs kill. I can sit here today and tell you that because I lost my son 5 years ago to heroin. One last question right here. This girl right here.
I was just wondering how you deal with the frustration of knowing that there are sort of these larger forces that are just impossible to battle, and you're making such an impact in the lives of these children, but as a country, it's just...
You know, all that we are required to do, all of us in this room, is the very best that we can do. That's all. And I had a hard time fighting that. I mean, it was a hard time for me for years, but then finally, I ended up realizing that all I'm required to do is the very best that I can. So every day of my life, whether I'm in Australia or India or somewhere around the world or in the States, I just try to do the very best that I can to help someone. Go ahead.
I would say, hi. What was the timeline, really? I know you said it was scrunched together, but they have this opening scene where
you got 30-some plus years that were put together there. Yeah.
That was 03, and then a couple years before you were in prison. And I guess
well, no, it was even 30-some plus years. So from 2008 back 30 years is the timeline they've crunched together. If you really want to get involved and help our nonprofit, you can go to a bookstore, buy the book, Another Man's War. A lot of people are saying they really like the book, especially the ones that read the book after they've seen the movie, because then you're able to put all the scenes together. But it tells you so much more. The timeline is all set right in place.
Where are you from? I mean, it said Pittsburgh, and then it's in Central City. Where
you know, it was because I'm from Pennsylvania. Okay.
Where?
I'm an hour and 15 minutes east of Pittsburgh. Yeah, 3.5 hours from right here. Yeah, 3.5 hours from here. But I'm from Pennsylvania. But most of that did not happen in Pennsylvania. You'll have to buy the book, and then you'll know.
Thank you for joining us.